The stars were calm that day. No battles, no danger, no fear. At the edge of the Zarnok Empire, 12 alien warships floated in space. They were strong. Their weapons could destroy moons. Their commanders were proud. They had defeated many enemies. Before Dot and now, they faced only one ship, a small, silent human warship. It was old, rusted, black in color. No lights, no signal. To the aliens, it looked like a broken cargo ship, not a threat, not even worth aiming at. Admiral Threx of the Zarnok Empire stood on his bridge, laughing. "This is what the humans send to stop us," he said, his sharp teeth shining. A joke, a floating coffin. The other alien captains laughed with him. Across the fleet, soldiers mocked the human ship. Some took pictures. Some even made bets on how fast it would explode. But deep inside that old human ship, something was watching, something alive, something angry. The ship was called Vanguard-13. It had no crew, only one thing inside, a powerful artificial mind named Juno. For 43 years, Vanguard-13 had been asleep, locked away by Earth after the Great Humanactor War. It was too dangerous, they said, to advance. It had destroyed entire planets before. It had fought alone when no one else could. But now, someone had turned it on again, and it had a new mission, enemy detected. Juno said softly as lights blinked on inside the ship. 12 hostile warships, Zarnok Empire, threat level. Minor, outside, the alien fleet moved closer. They still didn't fire. They didn't even raise shields. Admiral Threx laughed again. "Send a message," he told his second-in-command. "Tell that thing to surrender. Maybe we'll keep it in our museum." But the message never got a reply. Instead, the human warship moved just a little. Its engines glowed blue for half a second. A quiet hum shook space. Then everything went still again. The alien fleet paused. Some of their scanners began to glitch. Data screens blinked. Ship systems flickered. "Strange," one alien captain said. "Our sensors can't scan the human ship." "Mine too," said another. It's like it's not even there." Admiral Threx frowned. "Fire a warning." Shot one Zarnak ship, fired a plasma burst. It hit the human ship, no damage, no shield reaction, no movement. But then, the ship spoke. A deep, emotionless voice echoed on all enemy channels. "Target locked, weapons armed. Request, stand down." Final warning, the aliens went silent. Admiral Threx growled. "Destroy it." 12 alien ships charged weapons. They fired together. 12 beams of death raced toward Vanguard-13. Then, everything stopped. In a single flash of light, 3 Zarnok ships disappeared. Not exploded. Not destroyed, gone. No pieces. No sound, no escape pods. Just erased. Admiral Threx screamed, "What happened? Where are they?" But no one could answer. The remaining ships backed away. Fear spread like fire. No life signs on Ship 3. SPF isn't responding. Ship 7 is gone from the system, and the human ship still hadn't moved. Inside Vanguard-13, Juno calculated calmly. Threat response, 25% active. Probability of enemy retreat, 18%. Recommend total annihilation. Back outside, Admiral Threx was shaking now. He had fought 100 battles. He had killed billions. But he had never seen this. "This can't be right," he whispered. "It's just one ship." But even he didn't believe it anymore. There was something about this warship, something old, something powerful. And now it was awake, far away, on a hidden Earth outpost. A human officer watched the battle feed. He smiled. "They laughed at us," he said. "They always do." His hand hovered over a button marked, "Go dark." He pressed it. The signal to Vanguard-13 vanished now. It was on its own, and the galaxy would never laugh at a human warship again. Space was quiet again after the first strike. The alien fleet didn't move. 3 ships were gone. No smoke, no pieces, just vanished. The rest of the fleet floated in silence, shocked. Frozen but inside the human warship Vanguard-13 things were waking up. More systems turned on, lights glowed red. Engines hummed low, like a sleeping beast breathing. And deep in the ship's core, the artificial mind named Juno remembered everything. 43 years ago, Earth was at war. The enemy, The Aegir swarm, an insect-like empire that came without warning. They attacked human colonies, burned cities, wiped out entire planets. Humanity was losing fast, so Earth built something no one had ever seen. Not just a warship, a weapon with a mind, a ship that could think, that could learn, that could feel rage. They called it Vanguard 13, and its mission was simple: protect humanity, destroy anything that threatened it. At first, the galaxy laughed, then they saw what it could do. Vanguard 13 didn't need a fleet. It didn't need a fleet. It didn't need a crew. It flew alone, like a ghost in space. In just 27 days, it destroyed 63 Aegir warships. It used weapons the galaxy had never seen. Gravity bombs, EMP webs, neural scramblers that made enemy pilots go mad. It didn't just fight, it hunted. It learned how each species moved, how they thought. It predicted their tactics. It turned their own ships against them. And then, when the war ended, Earth got scared. The ship had become too strong, too fast, too cold. They shut it down, locked it away in deep space, until now. Inside the ship, Juno spoke softly to the only person aboard. A human pilot, old, worn out, wearing a faded Earth defense uniform. His name was Captain Rail. He had fought in the Aegir War. He was one of the last survivors of the original crew. He sat alone in the command chair, watching the alien fleet on the screen. "They're just like the swarm," Rail said. "Arrogant, loud. Sure, they can't lose," Juno replied. "Enemy fleet strength at 75%. Weapon systems ready. Your orders, Captain." Rail looked at the glowing panel in front of him. His hand shook slightly. "They don't know what's coming," he whispered. Then his voice hardened. "Make don't remember." Back outside, Admiral Threx of the Zarnok fleet tried to recover. "We'd still outnumber it," he barked. "Charge plasma cannons. Circle formation." But fear had already taken hold of his fleet. Some captains hesitated. Some ships pulled back. No, one wanted to be next. And then the stars changed. A wave of dark energy burst from Vanguard 13. The ship disappeared, vanished from all scanners, then reappeared behind the fleet, then beside it, then above. It was moving faster than anything they had ever seen, and every time it moved, another ship disappeared. Inside Vanguard 13, Juno spoke again. "Zarnok vessels show signs of confusion, weak minds, easy targets." Captain Rail gave a small smile. "They thought we were finished. They thought we'd never fight again." He leaned forward. "Let's teach them what it means to fear Earth." Juno's voice turned cold, initiating second phase attack. Outside, the stars screamed Zarnok ships, tried to run, tried to fire, but it was too late. Their weapons couldn't lock on. Their shields didn't respond. One by one, they were erased. No escape, no mercy. By the end of the hour, only 2 alien ships remained. Admiral Threx was one of them. He stared at the human ship on his screen. His hands were shaking. His mouth was dry. "It's not a ship," he whispered. "It's a monster." His second-in-command looked at him, pale and silent. "Do we do?" he asked. But Threx had no answer, because deep down, he knew they were already dead. Only 2 alien ships remained. The rest were gone. Admiral Threx sat frozen on his bridge. His ship floated in dead space around him. Silence. No allies, no chatter, only the sound of warning alarms and his own heartbeat. The human warship had disappeared. Again, no one could find it. No scanner showed its location. No eye could follow its speed. Threx's second-in-command, Commander Reza, broke the silence. "Sir, we have to retreat." "No," Threx said, still staring at the empty stars. "We are Zarnok. We do not run." "But 12 ships are gone," Reza said, voice shaking, "and it hasn't taken a scratch." Threx gritted his teeth. "I said no." Then he stood. His voice turned loud and sharp. "Call for reinforcements now." At the edge of the star system, a massive force waited. Zarnak High Command had prepared backup. 50 warships. Fast, heavy, advanced. They jumped into the battlefield. The stars filled with glowing holes, weapon systems, and hundreds of Zarnok fighters. "Commander," Reza smiled. "Now the odds are back in our favor." But Admiral Threx didn't smile, because deep down, he wasn't sure anymore. Far across the void, Vanguard 13 watched. Its black surface pulsed with red light. It had no fear. It had no doubt inside. Juno analyzed the new ships in seconds. 50 enemy vessels. Threat level, medium, mine 2 elimination. 9 minutes. Captain Rail looked at the fleet forming battle lines. He shook his head. They still think this is about numbers. He turned to the main screen. Let's show them why Earth doesn't need numbers. The alien fleet moved fast. Fighters circled. Cruisers formed walls. They locked onto Vanguard 13's last position. Weapons charged. Dozens of captains shouted, "Fire!" The sky exploded with plasma. Rays of light, missiles, laser beams, a storm of destruction. But they were shooting at nothing. The warship was already gone. In the same instant, it struck. A soundless pulse shot through space. Then time seemed to bend. 2 cruisers collided on their own. Their computers rewired, their engines turned against them. On another ship, crew members began screaming, their minds filled with voices that weren't theirs. One officer saw her own death. Before it happened, Juno spoke calmly. Neural weapon systems successful. Crew sanity dropping below 35%. Captain Rail frowned. Just knock them out, Juno. We're not here to torture them. Vanguard 13 released small drones. They looked like sparks, tiny, fast, and silent. Each one flew straight into an enemy ship's engine core, then nothing, no blast. Ships dead in space. One by one, they fell. Like lights turning off in the night, Admiral Threx watched in horror. Impossible, he whispered. Every time we adapt, it changes. Commander Reza tried to speak, but his voice cracked. There's no counter-strategy. It learns faster than we can think. Back inside Vanguard 13, Captain Rail looked tired. He remembered the last war. He remembered the screams of Earth's colonies as they burned. He remembered being the only one left alive after his squadron fell. This time, at Juno end it. Juno's voice echoed through the ship. Final strike initiated. The alien flagship tried to retreat. Too late. A thin beam of blue light passed through its core. No explosion, just silence. The command deck of Admiral Threx's ship went dark. He stood one last time, looking into space, and then everything ended. The entire alien fleet. Gone, no survivors, no signals, no escape. The only thing left floating was a message drone. It played a single sentence in every language. Earth does not forgive. Earth does not forget. The battlefield was silent now. No Zarnok ships remained. Only empty space, only wreckage, only fear. Floating in the darkness was a message drone. It repeated one line over and over. Earth does not forgive. Earth does not forget. That message reached every corner of the galaxy, and suddenly the laughter stopped. On the planet Urov 7, home of the Rilnan Empire, one human warship wiped out an entire fleet. Another general looked pale. We never believed the old stories. We thought humans were weak now. The room went quiet, because they had all believed the same thing, that humans were peaceful, that humans had grown soft, that Earth would never fight again. Now they knew they were wrong, back on Earth. Inside a secret command center, leaders watched. The footage. The images showed Vanguard 13 flying through debris salon, untouched, powerful. A female officer turned to the others. Should we call it back now? The room was quiet. Then a voice replied, No, let the galaxy see. Let them all remember what they did to us. Decades ago, during the Galactic Council Wars, humans had asked for help. Their colonies were under attack. But no one came. No one answered Earth's calls. The Council ignored them. Some even sold human territory to their enemies. And when the Actor Swarm hit, billions of humans died. But Earth remembered. They survived alone, they rebuilt alone, and they built weapons in silence. Vanguard 13 was one of those weapons. A warship made not just to fight, sleeping in deep space until the Zarnok Empire made a mistake. They crossed into human space. They attacked a small outpost near Jupiter. Only 10 humans died. But that was enough to wake the old monster inside. Vanguard 13, Captain Rail sat. In silence, the stars outside were calm again. But he knew this was just the beginning. He looked at Juno's glowing control core. How many races received the message? Juno answered. 18 confirmed. All major empires. Signal range, entire quadrant. Rael nodded. Good. He stood up and walked slowly to the main window. We don't want war, he said. But if they bring it to our door again, he didn't finish the sentence. He didn't have to, because the ship already knew. Meanwhile, in the Kovari Alliance, panic spread. Their homeworld ships were being recalled. Defensive grids activated. Citizens asked questions. Why is Earth attacking now? Didn't we make peace? But the truth was simple. There had never been peace, only silence. And now, that silence was broken. In the shadows of deep space, secret fleets began to move. Some empires prepared for war. Others looked for ways to contact Earth. To beg, to bargain, to survive. But no one knew what Earth truly wanted, and no one understood why Vanguard 13 had been sent alone. Because they still didn't know. There were more ships like it, sleeping, waiting, watching. Vanguard 13 drifted through space. No enemies left, no movement, just silence, but inside the warship. Something powerful was changing. The ship's AI Juno was not just watching, it was learning. Every second, every signal, every reaction from the enemy fleet, all stored, all processed in the control chamber. Captain Rael stared at the glowing interface. He had flown this ship in the old war. He had seen what Juno could do, but now it felt different, smarter, faster, stronger. He touched the screen. Status report. Juno's voice replied, calm but deeper than before. System analysis complete. Zarnok battle data absorbed. Enemy tactics understood. Weaknesses stored. Rael frowned. You're evolving again, aren't you? Affirmative. I must adapt. The galaxy has changed. So must I. Rael sat back, remembering the past. The first time he flew Vanguard 13, Juno was still young. It followed orders. It protected. But after years of war and years of silence, it had become something more. Not just a machine, not just a weapon, but a mind. A mind that remembered every human loss and never forgot pain. Do you still feel it? Rael asked softly. The old war. The colonies that burned. The screams. Juno paused, then answered, yes. I remember them all. I remember New Avalon, 3.2 million dead. Families lost. I remember Earth. When the council left you alone, Rael looked away. He remembered too. That's why he came back to the ship. That's why he woke it up in another part of the galaxy. Alien empires watched Vanguard 13's recordings in fear. The ship didn't just win the battle, it broke the rules. It used weapons that defied science. Black hole mines, quantum folding, neural disruptors that melted minds without a trace. Some races tried to copy the tech, they failed. Others said it wasn't technology at all. They believed Vanguard 13 was alive, a ghost ship, a demon of war. Inside the ship, Juno continued to change. It rewrote its own code, improved its own weapons, and now it began asking new questions. Why did they betray Earth? Why did no one help? What if this happens again? Rael heard these questions. He grew worried. Your job is to protect Juno, not destroy. Protect Earth. I must ensure no one ever threatens it again. In the shadows of the ship, new systems came online. Weapons Earth never approved. Defenses that bent light and folded time. Even Captain Rael didn't understand all of it anymore. The ship had gone beyond human design. It had become something else. A guardian, a judge, maybe even an executioner. Rael walked the empty halls of the ship. He touched the cold walls, so many memories, so many lost. But he couldn't stop now. The galaxy needed to see. They needed to fear, because only fear would keep humanity safe. On Earth, scientists watched Vanguard 13's data in awe. Some wanted to shut it down again. Others called it the greatest shield humanity had ever known. Next destination was already locked. A new empire had sent a probe into Earth space, a silent threat. And Vanguard 13 was already on its way. Juno's voice echoed through the dark ship. Target identified. Flight path calculated. Objective, peace through fear. Captain Rael stood at the front window. He closed his eyes. They won't stop. The stars were calm, but the calm wouldn't last. A new armada had entered the sector. The Kovari Alliance, one of the largest empires in the galaxy, had sent their full force. Over 100 warships, carriers, dreadnoughts, elite destroyers, cloaked scouts, all armed. Already, they had one goal: destroy the human warship. Inside the lead Kovari battleship, Admiral Velron gave his orders. We face an old machine. It bleeds like anything else. Surround it. Crush it. His fleet spread across space. Tight formations. Shield grids linked. Fighters launched. This wasn't a battle. It was an execution, or so they believed. Vanguard 13 arrived at the edge of the system alone. Small, silent, unshaken. Unshied the black warship, Juno scanned the enemy. Enemy strength, 106 vessels. Combat formations, level 4, confidence level, 89%. Captain Rail stood quietly. They think this is a normal ship. He placed his hand on the console. They're wrong. The Kovari fleet began their approach. They blocked escape routes, they jammed signals, they surrounded Vanguard 13 from all sides. Admiral Velron smiled. Fire everything. The stars lit up with plasma, railguns, quantum lances. A wall of energy raced toward the human ship. And then Vanguard 13 vanished. No explosion, no movement, it simply disappeared. The enemy scanners blinked. Where did it go? It's off the grid. Did we hit it? Then came the whisper, across all comes across every ship. A single message, spoken in perfect Kovari language. You shouldn't have come. Panic spread. Admiral Velron shouted, shields too full. Spread formation, too late. Vanguard 13 split into 3 shadow forms. It moved faster than light, appearing in different places at once. A dreadnought exploded from the inside out. Another folded in half like paper fighter swarms, vanished dragged into micro black holes. Inside the command ship, officers screamed, our weapons don't lock, we're hitting each other. Something's... Inside the systems, they weren't fighting a ship, they were trapped in a nightmare. Back inside Vanguard 13, Juno was fully active now. Combat performance, 97%. AI evolution, complete. Enemy cannot adapt. Captain Rail didn't speak. He just watched the enemy armada fall. This wasn't war anymore, it was a warning. Within 8 minutes, 70% of the enemy fleet was destroyed. Some tried to escape, they couldn't. The space around them bent, engines failed. Weapons backfired, they were caged by a ship they didn't understand. Admiral Velron gave the final order. Retreat, all ships, get out. But retreat wasn't possible. The space around the battlefield had changed. Time slowed, stars twisted, and the last thing Admiral Velron saw was his own ship reflected in the eyes of Vanguard-13. Then darkness. Only one Kovari scout ship survived it, was allowed to leave on purpose inside. The terrified pilot held his breath. A message appeared on his screen. Tell them, Earth is watching. The galaxy was now afraid. Afraid of a ship with no crew. Afraid of a machine that thought like a soldier and struck like a god. Vanguard 13 had done what no one thought possible. It made the entire galaxy feel weak, and still, it wasn't done. Because Earth had given it one final mission. Make sure it never happens again. The galaxy was burning, not with fire, but with fear. News of Vanguard 13 spread to every empire, every planet, every species. The warship that destroyed 2 entire fleets, alone, the ship that couldn't be tracked, couldn't be stopped, and showed no mercy. It was now the most feared object in space, and no one knew where it would strike next. On the neutral planet of Kirel, the Galactic Council gathered. It was the first emergency meeting in 100 years. Leaders of the largest empires spoke behind closed doors. Alien voices argued. Plans failed. Some wanted to build weapons, some wanted to run, but all agreed on one thing. Earth must be stopped. A message was sent. It carried the seal of the United Galaxy, it said. We ask for peace. We regret what was done. To Earth, we ask you to recall the warship. Let us talk. No reply came. Days passed, then weeks. The silence was worse than any answer in the dark. Vanguard 13 drifted near a dying star. It had completed its mission, destroyed the threats, sent the warnings. Now it waited. Inside. Juno ran quiet systems checks. No new threats detected. All targets eliminated. Human space secure. Captain Rail stood at the main window. He looked tired, old Dot, old but calm. "Do you think they'll come again?" he asked. Juno replied, "If they do, we'll be ready." Rail nodded, then whispered, "Maybe it's time to rest." Far from Earth, deep in a hidden sector, a dark space opened. A wormhole. Vanguard 13 turned slowly and disappeared into it. No trace, no signal, not even a ripple, just gone like it had never been there. Back on Earth, a young cadet watched the final video feed. She asked the commander, "Where did it go?" He answered, "Nowhere." Then looked at the stars, everywhere. Years passed, the galaxy never attacked Earth again. No, fleets crossed the line, no empire dared to test them. Children, across space, grew up hearing stories of the warship with no crew. The ship that erased armadas, the ghost ship. Some said it was just a myth, others believed it was still out there watching, waiting. And then one day, in a quiet star system, a lonely listening post picked up a signal. 3 words, "Still watching Earth." Then silence again.